I heard a rumor,
Mm-hmm.
and Danny says, "Here, you great." Okay, thank you, Danny.
Thanks,
Which
Daddy.
means we're gonna see Allison today.
All
I'll
right.
let her know during the first break. The rumor I heard is that Bill Belichick
Mm-hmm.
is headed to North Carolina
Really?
to Chapel Thrill.
Oh, he's gonna be UNC's coach.
Not so fast.
Oh.
According to Newsweek, the ball is in Belichick's court,
Mm-hmm.
and the school is hoping a decision will come soon with a lot going on behind the scenes. Of course, Mac Brown was fired before the season completed at UNC.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the most compelling rumor to date, which comes via Ali Connolly of The Guardian, the 72-year-old coach who will be 73 by the time college football season kicks off, has agreed to coach for UNC and has presented the school, ready for this, with a 400-page organizational Bible that contains a set of demands that he is unwilling to negotiate. Smart.
Yikes.
Smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're dealing with students. And
Yes.
with the NIL era, he's going to
Mm-hmm.
throw a little old school wrinkle back into everything. Per Connolly, Belichick's Bible, which he has shared with other college and pro teams, but customized specifically for the UNC position, contains structure, payment plans, staffing choices, and salary minimums, position by positions, that would require historic levels of investment from the school. I may not like Belichick, but I like him here on this one.
Yeah.
He's had, he's always been rigid, but given the fact that you're not dealing with veteran players and you're dealing with students,
Mm-hmm.
and there's got to be some structure,
This
I like
helps.
this.
This helps because it keeps everyone in line and it defines everyone's role. I do also like the payment guidelines that he's implementing, because one thing we've known about students, particularly in the college ranks, is they don't get a lot of money for what they do.
Right. And with
And
the NIL era in high gear,
mhm. So
this sets a precedent for me. So I
and
like this.
and take consideration that it's Belichick that they have to court. The school has to court him. He don't have to go. He don't have to go looking for a job. He can go and spend the rest of his days, on his property. He can go home and just and be happy.
The resume for Belichick speaks for itself.
Exactly.
And Arku, you leave my Tar Heels alone. Look, me and Arku are going to tease each other till the end of time.
I'm a Tar Heels fan too.
He's a brother. He's a great friend of the show. I like this. I don't like when schools, and do the student athletes, let me preface my question. Do the student athletes deserve to get paid? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, they do, because they're putting their bodies and their lives on the line.
Otherwise, you get
Fill up
situations like
stadiums.
what happened at ASU years ago with the point shaving thing, because a lot of those guys were not getting paid. If you guys have Netflix, I implore you guys to look up a show called Bad Sport. It's a series.
I remember that.
And it shows the situation with crime and sports, whether it's racing, whether it's horse racing, figure skating even. But the first episode was about I think it was ASU, and I think the man's name is Headache Wilson or Williams.
Okay.
He and a couple other guys were basically they didn't have a lot of money. And so they got involved with a guy from Chicago who knew a thing about betting and point shaving, and they started making money. And next thing you know,
Bill Frieder was the coach.
Yeah,
I believe Bill Frieder was the coach of Arizona State at the time, because Bill Frieder had been let go from Michigan. He took the job at Arizona State, and then that scandal happened.
Right. There was a big scandal too. And it's just like the way that you you'll fix that is you give these students a livable wage. If you're preparing them for the outside world, you also got to prepare them for the outside world in terms of their finances. You have them go into economics classes. If they are sports athletes, you also have to give them a wage so that they know how to take care of their money.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, stuff like this happens.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So
But
I like this move I like this Bible by Belichick that he's establishing.
mhm.
Is it rigid?
Stephen Smith,
Stephen Smith.
Stephen Headache Smith. That's his name.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Is it
was like,
rigid? Yes. But does it provide
yes,
structure? Hell yes.
but that's what it needs to be. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to be. It needs to be rigid, because at this point, because what you need like full structure where you cannot bend it, you cannot
You
break it.
can't bend it. You can't break it. There will be no chance of the NCAA visiting you in
There you
future
go.
years,
There you go, right there.
because that's what you want. That's what you want to establish. You want to establish that timeline and establish those practices where
Mhm.
you don't get a visit from the NCAA at any time during your tenure.
And it works for Belichick too.
Exactly. Arcus says, I'm a Duke guy. My cousin went there. I have a response to that, but considering the fact I saw the cathedral called Cameron Indoor Stadium, I'll be
Mhm.
nice.
Hey, I love the Triangle because I'm a North Carolina kid, born off the
Hey,
base,
look,
so I
hey, look.
understand.
I used to live in the Triangle.
Right.
I
If
used to.
you if
I
you
used
like
to.
college sports, you've been to the Triangle,
I
you
used to
enjoy the
live
Triangle.
on 2 occasions. I lived in the Triangle.
Mhm.
Okay, both times I was married. This
Right.
one just produced better results. So,
Yeah,
just be
exactly.
real.
I feel you,
Um,
bro.
but this, I love it. Look, I love all the rivalries in the Triangle.
The only
Okay,
people who are
NC State, North Carolina, Duke, and Wake Forest, which is in the triad with where
Mhm.
Jay Spivey is.
There's only one group of people who probably are not going to like it, and that's probably the Cowboys fan base, because they're like, doggone it, we really wanted him to come to Dallas.
I hope
Doggone it.
Dr. Dunbar is with us this morning. I had a chance to chop it up with him last night. Good morning to you, Dr. Dunbar. Thanks for having me on your show last night. We'll get to the Cowboys after the break, but I like what this I like what this speaks of.
And I think, other college coaches need to take a page out of this. It may not have to
Mhm.
be this rigid. If you want to be a little more lax, you can. But these guys need to have some structure. They need to have a
Yes.
set of guidelines that are like, this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do, and there's no ambiguity here. There's no room for interpretation. We're going
Mhm.
to spell out for you what the guidelines of our philosophy is, what the guidelines of how our practices are going to be, so that you guys are not confused and we're not confused.
Right.
And
And
the
that's
NCAA
great.
can sit there and be like, okay, yeah, we see what you're doing. You're all good.
And that's something that needs to happen more often. That's something that needs to happen more often. What do you guys think? Should UNC jump on this opportunity? I say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I say UNC should say, I say UNC should roll out the Tar Heel blue carpet for Bill Belichick.
And UNC
Now, a
doesn't
lot,
have anything to lose either. They have
no, they
nothing to
don't.
lose.
Now, are the students going to complain at first? Absolutely. When the
Yeah.
winning happens, when the winning happens,
There
think
you
Black
go.
Brown going to Texas, and he brought them a national championship in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then everything. I think this will pan out.
And that's where all the complaining will stop. Because
Yep.
once they start seeing those wins pop up, and they're like, man, those doors open. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We see why you put it together.
And the recruiting doors will kick wide open, especially in the triad. So a lot of students will stay home.
Here's a question: What if Deion did this? What if Coach Sanders put something like this together for Colorado?
Then Coach Sanders would be in the playoff. How about that?
I agree.
Coach Sanders would be in the playoff. Then Coach Sanders would have a little bit of consistency going on. Is he getting it now? Yes, he is. But he's using the transfer portal instead of, in my opinion, and this is just me, using homegrown product because he's going to lose a lot this year.
Well, the homegrown product is either going to be there or it's not going to be there.
Right.
He needed bodies to come in immediately, and the transfer portal.
Very good point.
Was a great way to get it done. What he has to do is build up the resume of Colorado, so that because right now there are always going to be more Texas schools: USC, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, LSU, Alabama. What he's got to do now,
especially teams that are in the playoff right now: Tennessee, Arizona State, Georgia, Boise State, for God's sake,
Boise State, Texas. So what he got to do, he has to build up that resume of Colorado to say, hey, if you are if you're aspiring to be a football player in the NFL, come to Colorado. We're going to set you up correctly.
Okay,
we're going to set you up, and if they do get more accolades under their feet, possibly a bowl game, maybe even a championship run,
right,
you'll see more homegrown individuals wanting to go there.
Exactly. But and you're right. You bring up a very good point about Colorado. See, Colorado was in an upheaval. Buffalo Nation was in an upheaval after a 1-11 season, losing a lot of boosters, losing a lot of students.
Yes.
Coach Sanders changed all that.
Right.
Within 6 weeks, he changed all that. He earned his paycheck and then some. Looking at it from the money standpoint, he's brought a lot of money into the Denver area.
Oh, yeah.
Into the Boulder area. And he did that within 6 weeks' time.
Because the name Deion Sanders is always going to bring eyes. It's going to bring attention. It's like
Hall of Famer Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer Deion Sanders.
Imagine if Joe Montana decided to, coach USC or something.
Montana decided to coach his alma mater at Notre Dame.
Or Notre Dame, there you go. If he decided to coach there,
if he coached Notre Dame,
man, and for people who already don't like Notre Dame,
the entire state of Indiana would be upside down.
Yes, they would.
Okay. Imagine if Troy Aikman decided to go back to UCLA.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
But Troy Aikman ain't leaving the booth. I mean, he and Joe Buck are like,
no, he's enjoying himself. He's enjoying himself.
Imagine if Steve Young went back to Brigham Young.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Especially with what the
But I'm saying, like, the name already starts it, and that's why people want to go, and that's why the transfer portal has been so successful. Now you build a solid philosophy. You start getting some really good winning seasons under your belt, and some more bowl appearances,
right?
And eventually a bowl win. More of those homegrown individuals, I'd be like, oh man, I don't have to go across states to go to school for college football. I could just stay here.
Deion's going into a hotbed already. They're playing in the Alamo Bowl in Texas.
There you go.
You know how many recruits he could steal from the University of Texas with a bowl win?
Yes.
He's got 10 wins under his belt already. Do you know if he wins this bowl game, if he wins the Alamo Bowl, and knowing the fact that all these new fans, and yes, they're new, but they're hanging in. Okay. Knowing how well they're going to travel. Thank you, Michael Lyle, for that point. Knowing how well they're going to travel, knowing how much money they're going to bring into the Alamo City.
Right.
If they walk out of the Alamo Dome with a win, and it's one of the biggest, save the playoff games, it's one of the biggest payouts on the bowl schedule. There's a wicked smile on his face, but his team has to do the job and execute. They got to beat BYU.
Well, if y'all want more deep dives like this, check out what we're going to do tomorrow when we go totally deets.
Oh, my God.
And one of our biggest experts.
That might be a 4-hour special tomorrow.
One of our biggest experts, and of course, my brother in the Cowboys fight, Chris Deets, goes on deep dives like this all the time.
He's taught me about doing deep dives like this, man.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, and thank you, Michael. And let me shout Michael Lyle for teaching me. Him and our brother BGS out in California teach me about the financial and the money aspect of college football.
Yeah,
It's
because
about
that's
the money.
Well, and that's something that a lot of people who cover college sports don't really talk about.
And that was me for the longest time.
Because we talk about the football aspect, but we don't talk
Mhm.
about the money aspect, because these are still young kids.
These are still students.
Yeah, they're still young kids. If they don't live on campus, that's another expense of being in an apartment. You know, they got to take care of their food. They got to take care of their cars if they have a car to go in, and you know, stuff like that.
They have to. They got to go with. They have to take care of what they need to take care of.